Good morning, good morning, good morning. Bija awot mawa. It is very early. Where are we? Well, we're where they call dapple of the third kind inside the front lines. Look at that. This is what they have on top of the sacred sites. That right there is a burial site where they have the lights right on top. There's a family up on top of that hill where you see the brightest lights, right on the very top. What you're going to see right over here in the back behind me is the National Guard. The National Guard is right back there, straight in the back there. Right here is on the beach. The videos from before that were posted is right behind me is where our relatives had went across the river and stood in the water and prayed for 6-7 hours and got hypothermia. What many people don't see is what's on top of the hill, which are pumpkins. Many of you guys don't know what pumpkins are. Pumpkins are used in wildland firefighting, where the helicopter will come in and drop in water into these pumpkins to fill up for they're called piss pumps, which actually you fill up with water and you spray hot spots. And so what these guys have done is set up 2 pumpkins on top, and they're going to use them as water cannons. Is my suspicion is that they're going to use them to, when our people go up and pray again, they're going to, instead of macing them or throw percussion cannons down there on them, they're going to spray them with water, cold water. That's what they're going to do. On the top of that hill right there behind me, called Turtle Island, is a burial site. I'm going to scroll back here behind me kind of slow, and this is where the pipeline is. The pipeline is right behind me, and this is how they have it look. Stadium lights going all the way across. Oshetisakoan is right here behind me. That's where the camp is. Nice and good night to sleep. There's the moon, Muha. So right there again is the National Guard. That's the National Guard. Get you guys a really good shot. Beautiful night out, despite all the lights. Beautiful night out. There's the lights right on top of sacred grounds. Those are sacred grounds. So today, I believe only one person got arrested in the action today. There was an action and prayer around the drill bits today. Right there, so many of you guys can't see on the far side. Well, actually you can. Right there where I got my finger are Dapple Security. Dapple Security are on the far side, and they're all behind the lights looking right at me. So many of you guys may be wondering what that means with Dapple Security. Well, we know that the Dapple Security are the Morton County Police Department in conjunction with several departments around the country, and also the National Guard. My fear is that we're being used as domestic terrorism in our own country, in our own lands. Trespassers in our own land is what we witnessed already. My fear is that as I witnessed Morton County become militarized, the first militarization that I seen was with the Dapple Security on September 3rd when they went through with the dogs and G4 security came through. The other time I seen it is a collaboration of Morton County Police Department with Dapple Security after an action, and they did a training after the action on what to do on the next action. As you guys witnessed, this was documented out there, way out there. This was very clearly documented with one of the officers, which you see him in front of the actions a lot of the time. I'll post his picture again later on. You'll always see him in the front trying to do a shot caller. He also is one of the guys that walks through in the front and maces the people, and then he'll walk back in the crowd. We document him as well. We got our eyes on four of the main officers that continue to hide behind the crowd, they come forward in the crowd. The fifth one is the one that's calling the commands, and I'm going to post him right after this. This guy is fully militarized from head to toe. He looks like he comes out of a video game. So again, this is what you're seeing at the very front lines. Right over, there's a little red blinking light. That is close to where there's an island out there. And to the 9 o'clock of that little blinking light is where the drill pad is. And actually, if you can see where, let me get the focus in here. If you can see where the light is actually blinking up and down, it's white light. Let's see if I can't focus in, guys, into the, I want to make sure I focus in so you guys can see clear. Okay, there we go. I'm going to focus in over there, and it's a white blinking light. The white blinking light right here is where the drill pad is. They are getting ready to drill. So the thing is, all night tonight the plane flew around, and we documented it. Finally we got him documented, and after we documented the plane, he quit flying. So one of the things we would like you to do is look at the flight plan that comes over this area. There is a 4-mile no-fly zone. If FAA put it on, Morton County is actually the corporation, the police department that put on the no-fly zone straight to the top of the FAA. Also, we're following that chain of command as well. This is not just a ground battle, but it's also an intellectual battle. So we need you guys, the intellectual warriors, to research that. Which plane was flying in the area after it got out of the 4-mile buffer zone here with the no-fly zone? The plane has to turn on its lights, which we are documenting it with binoculars. As it gets out of sight, we see the lights come on. So it's got to go fly to the airport. So we need you guys to do that research. On the far side again, that's the National Guard and Police Department guarding the entrance, so Dakota Access Pipeline can continue its construction. So right where I'm facing right now is where the buffalo were at, and that was documented earlier by a drone pilot that is documented that they had been storing buffalo in there with no feed at all, no water. We documented that on Facebook, and the drone pilot provided those images, and I want to thank him for doing that. So with that also, we want to make sure that they are held accountable for the abuse of animals, relatives, the Buffalo Nation. Many of you guys may not know who those buffalo are. Those are the buffalo that came over the mountain and gave our people hope and strength during a really hard time. So those buffalo are very powerful, and it let us all know that our ancestors were with us at that moment, that very brief moment. And you can see when I was doing an interview with one of the tribal members there, he started yelling, you know, the buffalo, the Tatanka. And then I flipped around, and you can see everyone just screaming, and it was a very emotional moment. And I also saw officers crying at that time as well. They saw how powerful that was. So there's a few good ones in there, you know, that do feel that, and several officers at that day had actually walked off the force, walked away from where they were at. So I want to acknowledge that as well. The high schoolers, I want to challenge you guys, local high schoolers, to do your research. One of the things that we're finding out is that I'm a professor, and we've been looking into the academic arena, and the teachers have been silenced for talking about the Dakota Access Pipeline. So you're the generation of the next generation of leaders. So I want to educate, I want to empower you, student presidents, I want to empower you, student organizations, and just to get out there and research what the Dakota Access Pipeline will do to the water and do to the land, and what it has done to the water and the land, the Energy Transfer Company as well. So take your time, research that, and educate your fellow peers around it, because you got probably half family that does work there. And if it doesn't affect you, it may affect your children in the next generations to come. And this is what we're witnessing. There was another oil pipeline burst that happened yesterday as well. Research, do your presentations, start the discussion, start the conversation. Why are the The Standing Rock tribe protecting their sacred sites and their water. Understand what that means in the 1851 treaty with the Sioux Indians. As the treaty comes through, the name is changed to the Standing Rock tribe, but educate yourself on the history. Now's the time. So with that, relatives, it's time to go and get a little bit of sleep, and got an early 6 a.m. in the morning. And Dapple guys, we can see you. We know that they're watching Myron Dewey here early in the a.m. We'll sleep when this is all done, when this is documented and the sacred sites are protected again. But for now, we got work to do, relatives, all of us. Stand in solidarity in prayer and protection of the water. So it's good night, sleep tight, sending blessings to all our relatives in the four directions, but also those special blessings to the Dakota Access workers there, that they open up their mind, open up their heart, and the protection of the water, and to see what they are doing in the destruction of part of climate change is this destruction that we're witnessing here, and the destruction of sacred sites. It is taboo around the world. What you do to our mother comes back to you, and this is you're witnessing the destruction of sacred sites right here in front of us. But also, I want to make a note: do your research on the Morton County Governor's mansion, which was also built on their own grave sites. So you can look at that. I try to tag it, and it's not letting you tag the video, but you can literally, the documentary was done on the governor's mansion built on their own grave sites. They found them, they're documented, and Morton County, the town of Bismarck, is built on many grave sites, and they relocated several grave sites. So there was a documentary done on the history of Morton County, Built on the Dead is what it's called. So check that out, and you're going to see why we're witnessing what's happening here with the lack of respect for grave sites and traditional sacred sites of the indigenous people as well. But if they don't respect their own, then how do you expect them to respect anyone else's? So we need to educate our young people on why we're here today. So take that moment to educate them and empower them. I challenge you to empower them in a good way. You want them to understand why we're here. So coming to you live from the front lines right here. We're actually, we're right in the very front lines here, guys. Send all them blessings. I want to thank you guys for all them blessings and donations, and sending hand warmers, and I'm not sure if you guys are sending my team women's shoes and coats, but I'm a 2X, and we got some big Indians that are 3X, so just throwing that out there, guys. And instead of size 7 women's shoes, get up there with some size 13, some 12s. We're getting ready for winter, and thank you again for all of you guys' prayers and blessings. I do take the time to read them. I haven't been replying as much. There's been thousands of them, and it's a little overwhelming. So I do go through them and read them, and I just want to say thank you very much. I feel those prayers, I feel those blessings, and we're sending them right back at you guys. Love you so much for what you guys are doing and sharing and standing in solidarity in the cities that you're around and around the world. Thank you for sending the pictures of your solidarity and sharing your message of water is sacred and no dapple. And just that I acknowledge that, and I also mention that to many of the people that are here, that the world is watching, and we have to remind Morton County that the world is watching, Dakota Access Pipeline, that the world is watching. But we need to have the government hold them accountable, because the world is watching, but no one is holding them accountable right now for their actions. So pass that on, and thank you again, guys. You guys are awesome. You're amazing. And that prayer and love, I can feel it all the way over here, and Standing Rock can feel it. And thank you guys. Many blessings. Talk to you soon. Aho.